I'm Tom, and it seems increasingly likely we are going to see Deontay Wilder taking on Francis Ngannou. It's a really interesting fight that. I'm kind of torn because I actually think it might be quite a good matchup. You know, we're going to see two low-level boxers with a high punch power squaring off against each other. The flip side to that, and the other side to me, thinks boxing's becoming quite gimmicky. Like, why did we see Fury versus Ngannou? Why did we see AJ versus Ngannou? Why are we seeing Wilder versus Ngannou? Why are we seeing Jake Paul versus Tank Davis? Why are we seeing Floyd Mayweather fight Mike Tyson? Like, this is becoming increasingly more and more of a gimmicky sport where we're just seeing random shit put in a ring and forced to fight. Now, this is certainly better than Floyd versus Mike Tyson. This is better than Jake versus Gervonta Davis. It's better than Fury versus Ngannou. But what it still is you've got Deontay Wilder, whose last fight was against Herndon, who was extremely unimpressive in that fight. And then I'm not trying to dog on him, right? But he was unimpressive in that fight. Like, he didn't look particularly good. He didn't get a flashy knockout. And you've got Francis Ngannou, whose last fight in a boxing ring was against Anthony Joshua, where he got laid out pretty quickly. Okay, he's had an MMA fight since, but he's not really done much. And now they're going to fight off against each other. It's not like we're seeing two high-level boxers in the peak of their powers. We're seeing two low-level boxers in the latter stages of their career fighting, and they've both got extremely concussive power. This is really dangerous. I know the sport of boxing is dangerous, so I'm not trying to say that they shouldn't be doing it because it's dangerous. Like, that's the nature of the beast. But I'm kind of torn between a rock and a hard place because part of me is like, actually, in terms of matchmaking, it's not that bad. They're similar ability and power, and we're going to see who's better. But the flip side to that is they're both old. They haven't fought in a while. They don't look particularly impressive. And I just I'm a bit torn on that side of things. That said, you know, let's just set the gimmickiness aside. We'll touch on that when I talk about Mike Tyson versus Floyd Mayweather. Let's look at this fight. You've got Deontay Wilder, who is an Olympic bronze medalist. Regardless of how he's been in the pros, he is an Olympic bronze medalist. And then you've got Francis Ngannou, who in reality is a novice to the sport at the latter stages of his career. So you'd like to think Deontay Wilder will get the better of Francis Ngannou. The thing is, Deontay Wilder's never been fancied as much of a boxer. You know, he's not a great boxer, with all due respect to him. What he's got is that Fabio Wardley concussive power. Or Fabio Wardley's got the Deontay Wilder concussive power. He's got that one punch, turn your lights out. That's really, Deontay Wilder should be fighting down at cruiserweight. You know, most of his fights have been around that 215 to 225 range. You can cut that and get down to cruiserweight. But he's never needed to. Because ultimately, if you're laying out guys at heavyweight, why go down to cruiserweight when you can get more money and be in the poster boy division? So I get it. But imagine a Deontay Wilder when he's already lighter than everybody else at heavyweight, and he's been doing what he's been doing. Imagine if he just cut 15 pounds and got down to cruiserweight. Imagine he'd be laying people out. Imagine him, a 6'7", 200-pound Deontay Wilder with that power down at cruiserweight. He'd have been a force to be reckoned with. I think he should have been down there, but now he's fighting Francis Ngannou, who, the flip side to that, is never making it cruiserweight. He probably has to make, when he was in the UFC, had to cut to make the weight class of heavyweight in the UFC. And this is where, you know, you come back to it and you go, he's not a great boxer. And you got someone who's much, much bigger in it than him, in Francis Ngannou. And that's where you go, how's this going to go? What Wilder needs to stay away from is any form of wrestling or clinching, because that is going to be Ngannou's bread and butter. That close, short-range fighting, where he's going to lean on him, he's going to clinch up with him, he's going to wrestle with him, and use his UFC skills and ability and his weight and his size. If Wilder can steer clear of that and use his kind of lanky limbs, it's not as an insult, just lanky limbs to keep him at reach, to keep him away from him, and on the end of his right hand, that's where he's going to see success. So that you'd like to think an Olympic bronze medalist beats a novice to the sport. But they have both got power, and that's what this is, a battle of the bangs. So to sum up, it's a bit gimmicky, it won't be high level, but actually it's not a bad matchup at all. and I don't hate it. People, let me know your thoughts on all of this in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you leave a like, a comment, subscribe, and all that stuff works, people. Peace.